Hi, I'm Jackson with Alpha Race Hub. Alpha is an all-in-one motorsports software solution that can solve all the software problems you need for your track, facility, or series. Alpha can cover all your software bases, from online registration, digital e-waivers, a proprietary timing and scoring software, incident management, automated points tabulation, tire and barcode scanning. We even have our own mobile timing app and rental cart activity management software. If you're looking to consolidate your motorsports software solutions, reach out to us at alphatiming.co.uk.
Macron Motorsports builds champions every day, drivers who won on the world stage. The Tillotson T4 Series is pure spec racing. Same engine, same chassis. When you win, it's because you were the best that day. Your edge is not the kart, it's the setup, the strategy, and the race team. With our Arrive and Drive program, you simply bring your gear, we provide the equipment and the championship-winning support to every event. Stop wrenching, start racing. Your path to the T4 Nations Cup in Spain starts with us. For more information, contact us at macronmotorsports.net.
Are you looking to take the next step in your racing journey? Well, look no further than PitFit.
With 2 locations in Charlotte, North Carolina and Indianapolis, Indiana, PitFit trains drivers all the way from grassroots level karting to IndyCar and NASCAR with top-of-the-line personalized coaching to improve physical and cognitive fitness.
For more information on programs, check out PitFit on Instagram or Facebook today.
Gee, looks like we're missing the engine. What the hell am I supposed to tap?
What do you mean? It's my Greyhound. It's all I need.
Where's the rest of it?
It doesn't matter. It's a Greyhound.
You gotta make weight. Okay, you're good.
I'm sitting by here with Kyle, our race winner. Tell me how you did it. You were blazing fast out there, and I mean, you don't even have a go-kart, man. Tell me about it.
Yeah, you know, Norberg, Schmorberg, the Greyhound-powered Greyhound was great today. You know, it makes the difference. And the team's been working really hard back at the shop, and, you know, just shout out Greyhound.
Thank you, Kyle.
How the f did you just win?
Doesn't matter. It's a Greyhound.
Hey guys, another Hey guys, another Kart Chaser driver fitness episode with me, Chris G. And today we're doing some upper back movements. Here we go. Exercise number 1 today we're doing is the reverse grip lat pull down. This exercise movement is one of my favorites because it works your grip strength, your biceps, and most importantly, works that lat area that also protects those ribs in the seat. Exercise number 2 today, the dumbbell chest supported row. Don't forget, good stretch at the bottom, and bring them right to your hips like that, keeping your back nice and arched, shoulders back. Think about having good posture in the cart. Exercise number 3, the inverted Smith machine rows. Grip strength, back strength, overall amazing workout. Thanks again for joining me on another Kart Chaser driver fitness episode with me, Chris G. Race ready training that carries into real life.
Are you stuck with your kart racing? Not sure the ideal kart setup? Or going to a track for the first time? Well, Kart Class has the answers for you. Our online portal has a wealth of experience and knowledge to help your kart racing. From kart setup advice to track guides that are targeted specifically to your circuit, or the driver coaching aspects with mindset, racecraft and driving techniques. If you want to take your karting to the next level, visit us at kartclass.com.
Kyle, what are you doing?
It's got my new Greyhound seat.
You don't even have a cart.
Doesn't matter. I have a Greyhound.
Who the f is Kyle Cuthbertson? Doesn't even have a go-kart.
Doesn't matter.
Cuthbertson through on Turney. Turney in the dirt.
From the garage to the grid, Acceleration Kart Racing is your one-stop shop for karting. Engines, parts, safety gear, tools, and more from the brands you trust. Everything you need for race day starts at shopakr.com. ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
When it comes to innovation on the track, Odenthal Racing Products leads the pack. From the highly popular EasyGP camera mounts to our tough case to GoPro case, racers everywhere trust ORP for strength, reliability, and precision. We're proud to be the #1 engine mount manufacturer in the USA. And with our new Easy Bumper Retainer System, you won't get caught out with a failed bumper bolt again. Odenthal Racing Products. Lead or get left behind.
Paulie Massimino wins the Wisconsin Grand Prix! James Overbeck on start number 2 gets win #1 in OKN Stars!
On track or off, Brandon Jarsekrak Racing delivers elite performance. Led by 4-time Pro National Champion Brandon Jarsekrak, our team masters driver coaching, data-driven analysis, and mechanical precision at every national event. Contact us today at BrandonJarsekrakracing.com.
Karting isn't just speed. It's control, precision, freedom. At Atlanta Motorsports Park, Kart Freedom isn't just a team. It's where drivers are made.
You know, I'm really starting to like this go-karting thing.
Yeah, me too. Oh my gosh, can I show you this cute dress I just got?
Yes, of course. Oh my goodness, it's so cute.
I just love shopping.
I love shopping too.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, did you guys say you like shopping?
Of course.
Well, dude, I have the perfect place to do that at. ShopPayCara.com. At ShopPayCara.com, you can get free shipping on orders $200 or more. You can get anything you want, like MXC rims, gloves, rib vests, shoes, anything that you need, all at ShopPayCara.com.
Who is he talking to?
No idea.
But we're gonna have to check it out. Sounds like a great deal.
Sure does.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Motorsport.
Cut. You all right, man? You sound way off.
What?
I don't know, you sound like you're asleep still. Is the age finally getting to you? You're only how old, 42?
Dude, I'm 27. I'm not even 3 years older than you.
Well, that's pretty old. Well, that's 3 years away from Masters, dude. You need a little pick-me-up. Try a Perico. It's a healthy energy drink alternative.
Do you walk around with these in your pockets?
I actually do. Always two, one for me and clearly one for you.
Whatever. Not that old, dude.
Did it help, though?
Yeah.
Pericazo. And you are that old.
From the garage to the grid, Acceleration Kart Racing is your one-stop shop for karting. Engines, parts, safety gear, tools, and more from the brands you trust. Everything you need for race day starts at shopakr.com.
Let's go race.
Come on, man.
Welcome to the future of kart race preparation. Kart Sim Pro North America.
featuring laser-scanned North American kart circuits and precision-tuned kart physics developed using real telemetry, dyno and tyre data. KartSim Pro North America delivers the most advanced and realistic kart simulation experience available today. Whether you're training for race day, refining your lines, or shaving tenths off your personal best, KartSim Pro gives you pro-level insight without leaving your home. Trusted by world champions, coaches, and karting enthusiasts alike, this is where virtual practice translates into real-world performance. Experience the thrill, the challenge, and the edge. KartSim Pro North America. Use code CHASER20 to get 20% off today.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the afternoon session for today's coverage of Apex Midwest Karting Racing. The Apex Karting Championships continue its final round of the Midwest, and as we get all set to go, there's a lot to talk about. I'm Justin Prince, alongside me is Hunter Bolton, as we're ready for the IAME part of the program here this afternoon. The clouds all of a sudden have started roaring in. The storm clouds are over the horizon.
That they did, Justin. It's gotten quite dark over here at Quaker Motorsports Park. It's more to our, I'm horrible with direction, but where I'm sitting, it's to my right. It's towards Youngstown area. It's not quite by us. There's two storms that are going to pass through directly by us, but we're like kind of stuck in the middle of it. And then we have one that's going to hit us around 4-ish p.m. it looks like. So we'll get some dry racing in, but I think we're going to finish in the wet.
And keep in mind, drivers have already been informed by officials that it's always driver choice on tires, especially with storms in the region. Now, if conditions are changing, this is per Christian March, if there are mixed slicks and wets on the grid, they will not hold the session, which means if everyone's on slicks and then it starts raining, they will postpone to allow everyone to switch safely. So that's something to consider in case that happens in regards to the weather conditions on the racetrack. So it's not just simple as send everybody out and see if they survive any sudden storms. Now, the IAME Micros are on the racetrack at the moment with a lot of the familiar names from earlier. Wyatt Burlesman, Toby Blue, Red Blue, Beckett Hemphill is on the track. Thomas DeLong, Harrison Fitcher. You also have Ava Hamill and Miles Hale. We're all on the circuit. Keep in mind, we haven't touched upon the conversation, obviously, with this side of the card. James Fox also had the advantage before the drop over TJ Akers and Remy Boss. Guess what? Those top three are not on the track. So another situation where Fox get the double championship as a result of the drop week.
That is correct, Justin. Fox is not here, unfortunately. His teammate Miles Hale was looking good yesterday during practice from what I could see. But as of right now, he's got, as I say that, he goes to the top of the board early as we have one way off. That is the 219 of Hemp. That's not Hemphill, is it?
That is Beckett Hemphill specifically. So it's
I'm thinking of the wrong Hemphill.
I know that was kind of the same thought too. Remember, Anderson wasn't a part of earlier action today, but we do have Beckett, who is on the circuit, who is one of those in a nitro kart as a privateer here today on the facility grounds. It's going to get interesting how we see some of the step-ups, though, because some of the team drivers did take the opportunity to mention things. We mentioned the Blues, for example. They have you'll see those dinosaur-style machines that are actually, I think, the theme in the red and the greenish, tealish on the circuit in part. As you take a look at Hale on the other side of the circuit running on the Lonesome. In regards to the Blues, 24 races over the Autobahn car track, 25 combined podiums. It seems like Toby stepped it up today in the Toby-Saurus Rex machine.
Yeah, it seems he stepped it up just that little bit compared to his brother Rhett. But Toby has found some speed in the in the Micro Swift class. I think this is the best we've seen him run so far this year, Justin.
Good pickup, absolutely, here today. But we still have 2 minutes to go in the session. Now, that being said here, obviously it's so hard to plan for how you want to run a race like this, Hunter, for your classes today, because we talked about weather was expected by around 4 o'clock earlier today. And we are under a severe thunderstorm watch actively for the National Weather Service. So really speaking, as you take a look over at Red Blue and Company, How do you plan this out with so much potentially as a factor because of those clouds?
It's hard to say, Justin. It doesn't look pretty over there by Youngstown, but it's hard to say, especially with how Apex is. It is always driver's choice. It's not like they force you to be on one tire all weekend. And to have that, it really comes down to the mechanics, the fathers, if you're the privateer team, making the right choice before you even go to grid, right tire pressure call, because it's getting a little bit cooler now, especially with the wind picking up and the sun going away. So that's one thing to think about. And then you also have to think about, what if the storm starts moving and it heads towards us now? Then you have to be looking at the forecast consistently and watching it to see if the storm is changing direction, if it is going to hit us, at what time is it going to hit us, are we going to be on grid when it hits us, stuff like that.
You're looking at the radar, at least on my side. There's rain bubbles at the moment right by Sebring, Ohio, which is a little ways away. You mentioned Youngstown currently dealing with heavy, heavy rain at the moment around that region. The first wave would be within the next couple hours per projections if it keeps up the pattern. But as we know, the weather can potentially change. Then that wave would only last about an hour or so. Then some clean space for the next few waves potentially. So that is the current projection on the radars. But it obviously could shuffle, and better yet, obviously could change around because we do have Lake Erie nearby, and that's the big thing. It's going to be a little bit more intense, the projections around Lake Erie, where you have that water suction in for the cloud system at that part of the surface as the weather seems to be sticking on the shoreline. Checker flag, though, is on the racetrack for this respective group. As right now, these drivers are about to finish up the qualifying efforts. We hope you're enjoying the action so far. Early morning, I know there's plenty of you watching along here for the warm-ups and qualifying for the PM sessions for the Yummies and their motor package. Hale, we'll see if there's any shuffles with, because Blue and Brulsman stay in line. Most of the field has, in fact. Miles Hale keeps the pole, but Hamill does take fourth. Part of the last-minute changes for our first of 4 groups. Now, it's important to mention, not just the drivers here, a lot of them double duty here, but we do have one group not on property this weekend because this one class is not racing this weekend for the Yummies. No Masters class here today in this weekend, Hunter.
Yeah, this decision was made early this week. Just not enough entries in the KA Master category to the point where they didn't want to make people drive, especially if it's only going to be 2 people, drive the distance out here just to race against one other person. Me as a racer, I personally would not want to just race against one other person. Even if I'm in the fight for the championship, I still would rather have the series make that call. And then if I still want to come race, maybe I go to the Briggs Master category where they have a good amount of entries this weekend.
Here's a good question. Where are the seniors? Because the next one's due up, and there is one cart visible, as you can see. That's not including anyone on the other side of the garage facility. A lot of people taking their time because there is an extra few minutes on the schedule compared to earlier in the day with the morning session. 2 extra minutes to get your carts out, I guess you could say.
Yeah, Justin. And you were talking about your weather radar. I'm not a big weather radar guy. I just use Apple weather because I'm a basic person. Apple weather right now is showing rain to start in about 7 minutes. We got 40% chance in 7 minutes, but we will really be hit around 6:30 to 7 when we are going to get hit. We got 75% chance.
Do you think they're all putting on wet tires or thinking about it at this point based on that analysis, or are they just trying to see if the weather rock is wet yet? You know what I mean?
I just think they're trying to figure out what they want to do with tire pressures because the wind has cooled down a little bit. The track's probably cooling down, especially because we just got done with that lunch break, and there wasn't a lot of karts that hit the track right before for warm-up, especially with the drop of KA Master. So there's very few go-karts out there, and it wasn't like earlier this morning where we had 30 plus 206 seniors and 30 plus 206 juniors. I think the biggest class we have here is the KA seniors. I think it's around 20 people.
Yeah, the seniors specifically on the entry list had 20, absolutely. Now, checking in on how things went in the warm-up session minutes ago, remember, that's a good barometer of who we may see is took part in that. We actually only had 15 take part in the warm-up session. So obviously that includes some drivers that had some really bad luck, like Chase Adams in the Brooks Stratton package. You have a couple others that may not be on property, part of that group as well. Isaac Malquit did lead the way in that respective group by about a 1/10.5, and Isaac, is very quick to say the very least. He's going to be one to keep an eye on here in this class.
He will be. The other person to keep an eye out for is Henry Wheeler. We haven't really seen him that much on the national side of karting scene this year because he's been overseas racing Porsches in Germany. So he's been taking a little step back from the karting scene and been running the Porsches a little bit more, but it's good to have him back at the go-kart track, and he's fast as well, so you can't count out Henry Wheeler.
They're still trying to roll some of the carts up there. We have a few more drivers making their way up from behind the building and from the on-track garage facilities. So they're all getting themselves geared up and ready to go here for this session, especially what are formed up. As you can see with the sides of the cameras, the bags are ready in case the weather does start to spark up and get things a little bit wet out there. Some of the other drivers, Ryan Curl's a part of the field today, Anthony Lewis. You also have Wyatt Cataldo, yet again, Andy Cassie. That's a part of those taking part in the field. Hearing that weather's starting to pick up, karts are on the track and already rolling, and some of these drivers are going to have to rush their way for the back end of the grid to get out there.
That they will, but it was Isaac Malquit leading the field out, followed by, I'm not quite sure who that is. I didn't quite get a number. But Henry Wheeler, it looks like he came out late in the field, and he did. Couple of them in the back. Anthony Lewis is one of them. He was P2 in warm-up / happy hour. Henry Wheeler's P3. He went out in the back as well. Isaac Malquit is the only guy in the top 3 that went out in the front. He's trying to get out front, set a lap, no traffic to deal with.
Now, this championship conversation is different compared to every other one so far because, remember, Isaac swept Newcastle to start this series season. Then Eli Warren, who is amongst those that we'll have to see if he's here or not. The 997 on the entry list was not, after all. That's a drop for Warren today. There's a chance the 970 of Malquit, if he gets a near-perfect day, can nearly, if not surpass, Eli Warren. The gap was only 243 coming into today. He's got a realistic shot with the drop to do it, to win a championship and steal it from Eli Warren.
That he does. He has a really good shot to take the championship away from Eli Warren. There's a couple drivers I was surprised that didn't make the trip up. Eli Warren was one of them. With the stellar performance he had at G&J, I was kind of expecting him to be back here on the Barellar again to try to take another win, but Eli wasn't here, so Mark still has a K in this field, and that's with Henry Wheeler. Henry Wheeler's on the stealth machine in KA Senior.
Don't forget there's a couple other drivers in the mix also, depending on how the drops go. Adam Maxwell, Cazio is in the order. Alex, his 989 machine, 575 points. Wyatt Wesley's 539. Some of the names in there. Christopher McKeithen also, if he was here, would have been one of those in the conversation with the drop, but it's all going to depend on first things first qualifying. Guess what? Wheeler started on the top of the board by 2/10 over Malquit. Still 4 minutes to work with as you see this entire train. And remember, the KAs, drive a lot more differently compared to the 206s, so that allowed bump drafting. Not necessarily the most advantageous potentially to bump draft with this package, maybe. What do you think?
I would have to agree with you. I've started running the KA senior category myself. I've done 2 races in it now, and you really don't gain that much time bump drafting. You get more of your time from reeling someone in from a distance and getting the draft up to them, and then just staying on their bumper the rest of the lap. So you kind of have to set up your laps perfect here, because you're not really gaining that much time pushing someone. If you're pushing someone a whole lap, you could almost go faster, I would say, by yourself, because you're able to drive in the corners that little bit deeper, roll a little bit more speed through the corner, because you don't have to worry about someone in front of you.
Yeah, and obviously the big thing is, too, we've seen how it became the draft-dependent to set up the opportunities. It's pretty clear. You see some of the momentum's taking these KAs in a lot of the cases here in the swap-arounds. Noticing the momentum is not just towards the very end, towards the braking zone where they're getting side-by-side. Seems a bit more sustained, if you will, to get a more gradual pass attempt for the back half of the straightaway onward up to turn 7, for example. It seems as though this is going to drive a lot differently than 206, as we know, but it's allowing opportunities for drivers to really test things out. What do you say about how, in general, you've seen things run with the warm-ups in terms of the pace compared to what we've seen in the 206s race-wise so far?
That one's a little bit harder to say. I mean, the K senior field is realistically pretty close. Henry Wheeler and Isaac Malquit, they're 3/10 in front of the field right now, but behind them, it's a pretty tight field. I mean, from 4th to about 7th is only 2/10 difference. So if they can work with them and try to move forward, then maybe we can see a battle for the lead with a couple more karts in it. Or maybe Malquit and Henry go battling from the get-go. But at the same time, I don't think they really will, because they've been teammates. They were teammates under the steel tent for the longest time. They're under the tent together, under the Burrell Art tent, the PSL tent, on the national scene for a couple years. And then they both went to Mike Doty for a year. So they've been teammates in the past, so it's hard to say. Currently, as we sit, Henry Wheeler is on pole with Isaac Malquit right behind him. Malquit is .061 behind. And then the driver that didn't have the greatest day in the Briggs category, Chase Adams, he is sitting 4th right now, .448 behind Henry Wheeler. Maxwell rounds out the top 5 at a half a second back. And your guy sitting in 3rd right now is the 989 of Alex. Alex is having a great time at his home track. His family's got the garage here. They're just getting out of the garage, not using their big trailer they have, just out of the garage, a little bit more relaxed setup for the weekend for that camp. As we follow along with Henry Wheeler now, he's pushing for another fast lap. He's been pretty close to his best time. Last time by, his best was a 105.507. Last time by, he did a 105.583. Malquit not improving anymore, though. Let's see what Henry can do on his final lap throughout the circuit. And Henry's going to get the checkered flag right there. Does he go any better? He does not. He stays at the 105.583. So now it's just waiting for Isaac Malquit to come back around to see if he can top his time. And I'll take that back. Henry Wheeler did go better. Henry Wheeler just did a 105.4.
How about that for the qualifying session, just like that, for your seniors? Henry Wheeler at the top of the order over Malquit. Cosimo amongst those up in the front. Chase Adams in the top 4 over Adam Maxwell. Curl, Lewis, Laser, Holes, Surgeoner, part of your top 10 here in this one. Wyatt Cataldo down in 11th. Monterey down in 12th. Cassidy down there in 13th. Lindstrom, Flynn, Cockeram amongst those in the order, a part of the seniors. And as you can see, a lot of the drivers and their crew members starting to take the chance to take the journey to the top of the hill here, Hunter. Make sure they get a little bit of an upper hand in terms of elevation. To see what they can pick up for the notes there. You see up on the hillside, the little rut that's built up for people walking back and forth to see where they can watch along before they go back to their drivers. Take a bit of a break here. Coming up, qualifying continues. Next up on the order, it's Mini here on Kart Chaser.
Hi, I'm Jackson with Alpha Race Hub. Alpha is an all-in-one motorsports software solution that can solve all the software problems you need for your track, facility, or series. Alpha can cover all your software bases, from online registration, digital e-waivers, a proprietary timing and scoring software, incident management, automated points tabulation, tire and barcode scanning. We even have our own mobile timing app and rental cart activity management software. If you're looking to consolidate your motorsports software solutions, reach out to us at alphatiming.co.uk.
Macron Motorsports builds champions every day, drivers who won on the world stage. The Tillotson T4 Series is pure spec racing. Same engine, same chassis. When you win, it's because you were the best that day. Your edge is not the kart, it's the setup, the strategy, and the race team. With our Arrive and Drive program, you simply bring your gear, we provide the equipment and the championship-winning support to every event. Stop wrenching, start racing. Your path to the T4 Nations Cup in Spain starts with us. For more information, contact us at macronmotorsports.net.
Next karts are on the racetrack. We continue on with qualifying, where it is still not rainy yet. Obviously, a lot to think about with the weather within about an hour in the area potentially here today, and the weather heading Youngstown pretty aggressively. Justin Prince alongside Hunter Bolton here today as we continue on with qualifying. The minis are on the racetrack at the moment, and Hunter, thinking about the minis side of the thing, this is where Anderson Hemphill also leads in the point standings over Caden Geruno. You also have Hudson Howard. That's a bit of factor with the drops, potentially, depending on how things go. But obviously, it's going to really depend on who's here. And mind you, it is a bit of a smaller class. As a matter of fact, out of those names, you have Anderson Hemphill here. You have Toronto here. but you do not have the driver who swept the opening round in Hudson Howard here. 15 drivers have scored points in this series this season for this class.
Yeah, Hudson Howard's not here. Another contender that we saw throughout the year, Aiden Go, isn't here. He went back to California last 2 weeks ago, I believe. He went back to California right after USPKS at MCC. He made the flight back home instead of staying out in Ohio. He's been living out in Ohio basically all summer while his dad's been back in California working, so Aiden Go can continue to do the racing career that he wants to do. It looks like we already have a bumper that might be dragging on the 162.
That's a little bit interesting for Jessup. Jackson Jessup. Yeah, it doesn't look as low that angle, but you can already see it's potentially setting things up for drivers to make some moves there. See some of the runs built up. That is Aiden Harbaugh, who is also running in this group. Now, we were talking about the dirt mound before the session started here today, Hunter, and of course, you were here part of the coverage last year with this track here at the national scene, but you said the mound wasn't there. That was where last year Kart Chaser had been set up with its trailer, where that hillside is now.
Yeah, us at Kart Chaser, we were pitted right over there, had our big 30x30 tent set up, the RV, the trailer. That wasn't there last year. Where that dirt mound was, we were pretty much playing football there at the end of the day. We were just throwing around the football, having a good time. But one thing that has changed at this track is there's a lot more garages now. With the shutdown of pit race, a lot of customers were wondering what they were going to do with their go-kart that they had stored at pit race. Well, AJ, the owner of the track here, got 20 of them to commit to the garages. So he went aside and built brand new garages, and he's got 20 new people that are here now. And most of the people that used to race at pit race are now at Quaker for the club races. So he's getting good turnouts for the club races, and he's getting his return in on building all the brand new garages.
And that's good to hear, to say, the very least, to see the growth of this facility. Obviously, you don't want to see it at the expense of another, but it's been a long story when it comes to pit. We were talking about that at the time last year, obviously, or in the past year, I should say, because a lot of series raced over that side. But now, a lot of the drivers then made their way over to here. A lot of them are a part of this Apex action here this weekend that have run the club races that have really blossomed with cart counts, should say. Under 3 minutes to go, by the way, in the session. It's pretty tight up at the top, actually. Ruben Greer is the one leading the board over at Hemphill.
Yeah, Ruben Greer's having a much better time in this mini Swift class than he was having in the Brace category earlier today. But you can't count out Hemphill. Hemphill's getting the draft off of Greer right now. So this lap might be even better for Hemphill because he's going to get a great run down the straightaway to reel right into Greer for the most part. So this lap, I'm going to give it to Hemphill. I think Hemphill might be on pole.
Let's see here. Hemphill is on pole for now, but there's 2 minutes to go. You recognize the speed. He got it by 82 1/1000ths after Greer had a slower last lap.
If I'm sitting in Greer and I look back and I see someone closing into me, especially in these qualifying runs when it's just like the two of you, and you've been on the outside in the Briggs to see the start, I might be doing like a little cool down / slow down lap just to let Hemphill by so I can try to get the draft off Hemphill and get myself a good lap.
You see just how much the close-up came into play right there with 90 seconds to work with. Remember, the races, for those who missed the early coverage, going to be 7 minutes plus 2 laps. So essentially the exact same amount of time as the warm-up for the time counter and for the qualifying effort, just for the extra 2 laps. We go up to 8 minutes for the pre-final. Then it goes up an extra few minutes after that for the final in of itself. Part of the racing on Sunday. This time by, no changes. They will indeed in this class get themselves 5 laps again. Noticing a small difference in the increase on time. We're a couple seconds quicker than in a Briggs motor package right now. But because this is still a mile racetrack, you still have lap times that are more than a minute compared to some circuits where you'll get times under a minute on the circuit we've seen in Kart Chaser across the nation.
Yeah, Justin, this track is a long one, especially for these young kids. I mean, doing 7 to 8 laps around this track in each session is not easy, especially in these smaller categories like the mini and the microclass. That's a lot of elevation change and a lot of turns on the body for these young kids that they're not used to. Like most of the karting tracks we do go to are under a mile. Usually they're under 3/4 of a mile. Usually they're about 3/4 miles, like the max you see, especially in the US, because most of the tracks we go to are kind of more tight. It's not as big and long, especially with how much uphill and downhill gain this track has.
Indeed, it's going to be interesting, as it's going to get very intriguing how things go on the scheduling of things here today. Right now, the checker flag is waving. Hemphill, Munster's already a part of the crossing of the stripe. Hemphill over Greer. Renault, you also have Harbaugh, Alec Jessup, and Boss, Remy Boss specifically, part of the 7. And obviously, there is a bit of a factor with the weather conditions here, too, we haven't considered yet, Hunter. There is the drag strip. No, they were supposed to have racing action coming up today. That's been a talking point for the drivers because they had to, with the weather, err on the side of caution for the use of the drag strip here today. But with weather, we still have rain tires when available, as said, for the karts. The juniors are due up. That's our final qualifying group already for your afternoon session, ready to go pretty soon here, Hunter.
Yeah, Kay, Junior is getting on grid. Some of the drivers are already sitting down their car, just waiting to get on track. And we'll see some of the same people that we saw earlier on today, like Dragunov. He's on the new gen in the KA Junior category. We have Christopher Yautzi. Jet Price is another one we'll see again. There's a couple guys in this category that we will see twice a day. So most of these guys have already had the time on this track today versus some of them that are just coming into this cold.
It's a big opportunity for those who have had the seat time at least to get more seat time, if you will. Christopher Yautzi is the points leader after all, after sweeping round 2 in this series. More series are coming up next weekend, by the way. MCC Cincinnati hosting the Pro-Am Karting Championship. Champions of the Future is hosting action at K1 Circuit. TSRS at Crescent. And the Indy Karting Challenge at K1 Circuit Whiteland. All of those races next weekend. Action-packed, as mentioned. Hunter and I just so happen to be both on the Champions of the Future broadcast for the Americas Series. Overall, though, some interesting combinations for Crescent and TSRS, especially going to be interesting here too.
That it will. I'll be interested to see how we do on this quad header. This isn't the first quad header we had this year. We had one already this year, and it was a little bit more busy, I would say. We had TSRS. We had Coda. We had Challenge of the Future Challenge of the Future. We had CKNA Summer Nights at MCC, and then we also had Rotax Grand Finals at Newcastle, all in one weekend. So this one, a little bit more laid back because it's only 2 club races going on, so it's going to be a little bit easier for us, not as busy, but still another quad header for us to deal with.
And it keeps everyone busy, to say the very least. Be sure to subscribe to KC Premium today. That's going to be important for the racing action today as well, fans. $9.99 a month. You get to watch the racing action from all across the nation. Or you can put all 4 of the broadcasts on at the same time next week. As said, you can pick up notes from all 4 races at once. And don't forget, one of the major things about this weekend is we actually have an hour broadcast that happens here on Kart Chaser on just a Saturday. There's been the Saturday night shootout going on in Richland, Washington in the later hours. They are expected to start their warm-up session at 4 o'clock after they had qualifying late into the night yesterday here on Kart Chaser. So those on the West Coast are going to have some fun too for their respective racing coming up.
That they will. We saw a little bit of their action last night. As us here in Quaker, we were sitting down at an all-you-can-eat sushi place. I had to turn on Kart Chaser. I had to get some Kart Chaser out of the day in, because you can't go without a day without watching some Kart Chaser on your phone or something. You always have to watch Kart Chaser.
Yes, watch Kart Chaser on your phone, your tablet, your TV, your computer, your refrigerator. I don't know, the YouTube app of your Xbox, anything along those lines here these days. Qualifying is now underway for the final group of this session. We'll find out pretty soon who's going to set the pole time. A bit of 2x2 working around the racetrack. Now, keep in mind, Andrew Vowles is going to be one of those hoping to potentially use the drop to their advantage, because here's the big thing about how this could go. If there's bad luck for the 833, there's a chance for Andrew Vowles and maybe AJ Stoner and Alex Kutcher, depending on what happens here. Those were the drivers that had opportunities, at least point-wise. That's on a glance, not even talking about who is on the track today. That being said, as the drivers come across the stripe here and get themselves going for qualifying, a lot can still happen today, but the 832 does have that advantage before the drop coming in.
He has a little bit of advantage over the other people, but you can never count out anybody, especially when it comes time for the drop weekend, especially if we can have another person like sweep a weekend like we've seen happen a couple times in this series so far this year. Especially with it being the first year, you never know what's going to happen. There's some drivers that have the chance. Yahtzee can do it. AJ Stoner could do it. AJ Stoner, Jet Price is another contender that has a good chance to be able to do it. There's 3 to 4 drivers that all have a chance. If they could sweep the weekend, they still have a chance at maybe being the champion in the series or staying on the podium.
It's going to really come down to who's going to be the most consistent today. Yahtzee at the top of the order right now. Furnish Amonsto's in the top 3. Bell's up in the top 2 as they come across the stripe. See Jet Price, all black suit for him today. Getting a little bit of assistance from behind. No major pushes coming through, as you can see. Well tucked in. 13 karts in this race here today. It looks like a part of the qualifying session, at least. Originally, when thinking about the entry list,
we do have 14, the one driver off already. The one driver is off. You could see the flagmans in the background working their way over to the 899, I believe.
Globinger.
Yeah, you can see him in the background right there.
And that's unfortunate for Globinger, as that kind of crossover with some of the luck in the Briggs package. A few different drivers move up and down the order. Dragunov picks up some speed this time by. You see some of the slip and slide of some of these tires here as they try and maintain the heat and keep up the pressure. Still working off the back end of Cooper Etor, I should say. That's an Atkins Speed Center machine that leads the way in this respective pack. One of the variety of different teams actually taking part in the junior side. because you have Low Key Racing, you have Atkins Speed Center, you have Steel that had some representation, BJR/MDR with Buchanan, New Gen, AMAX, a variety of different teams actually on top of the privateers in this group.
Yeah, there is quite a few teams here this weekend. I mean, Malquit is under the MDR tent, but he's out of his own trailer this weekend. Mike Doty didn't make the trip up, and then you have like some of the BGR carts. They're under the James Overbeck Academy tent this weekend. And then you also have the New Gen tent. You have the Mark Steele tent. So, I mean, there's still a good amount of teams that made the trip up to try to compete with their drivers at the championship.
Oh, it looks like we have more issues. That's Dyer. The Dyer in the barrier on the other side of the sand barrels, actually. Might have moved the cart that way. But the 805 had been in 8th in one of the steel entries. Remember, had good speed in the Briggs package in Heat 2.
He also had good pace yesterday during Friday practice. He was one driver I saw making really good strides yesterday in the KA junior category when he was on track. Because I was out there a little bit taking photos. As you see, the flagman down there, he's walking away with the tire in his hand.
Somebody obviously lost something there, to say the least. What can cause them to lose a tire mid-speed?
It can be two things. The hub sliding loose, technically 3. The hub sliding off completely with the wheel. The wheel nuts coming loose and falling off, and then the wheel just slowly slides off the hub. Or it could be a whole axle snap.
A lot of different possibilities as, funnily enough, the driver in the pole has a transponder issue. We'll get that official, I think, from race control afterwards, because right now it's a 10th up. And this is about the lap. We've seen drivers really hit their peak for their qualifying window. We're down to what's going to potentially actually be maybe an extra lap actually for the junior session here because of the speeds they're running in the 105s.
As you see Yauzi pull off to the side, he's going to let the 841 go by and try to get another fast lap with a little bit of draft. He knows this is going to be his final lap now as he just saw the 19-second on the board. So I don't know if he slowed up too much and lost too much speed going through the final corner and not carrying enough speed on the front straight. It's going to be close to tell.
Really close to tell with the qualifying ending this time. Steve Van Horn at least keeping up here. Van Horn has to give assistance here. There's 2 drivers off track over the course of this session. Now as they get themselves finished up for junior, they'll gear up. Less than 20 minutes time for more racing action once they all finish up this qualifying effort. Will there be any changes? AJ Stoner, we can confirm, is that driver that had the issue. It's Stoner, top of the board in qualifying right now. Stoner third in the points, looking to get the first strike here. Let's see who gets the edge here. Big run picked up in the middle of the group as this time through. Tor Van Horn shuffles. Stoner at the top of the board stays there. You'll see in the second spot, Van Horn with that speed in the draft gets to third.
Yeah, that was a good lap out of Van Horn.
Power their way up.
That was a good lap out of Van Horn to get to that third spot with that draft. Daniel Dragunov able to stay in P4 with him pulling in early on the last lap. And you have to think, pulling in on the last lap, when you're getting a draft off of someone like AJ Stoner, you might have made a mistake and lost that little bit of time where you could have been up and he knew he wasn't up on that micron and just decided to pull in the pits and save a little bit of his tires.
That being said, we're 15 minutes or so out from the next racing action. It's time to go behind the paywall. If you're on KC Premium, be sure to subscribe today if you haven't already. $9.99 a month to be able to watch all the racing action across the nation here on Kart Chaser. Be sure to join KC Premium because it's time to go there. Racing action set for 320.